Welcome! In this tutorial we will be setting up an airspeed gauge in Tellus Studio. To start, ensure that you are viewing the UI canvas and the widgets toolbox. First, locate and drag a UI container from the toolbox onto the canvas. Next, locate and drag a UI image from the toolbox onto the container you just placed. This will parent the image widget to the container. Then, load an image that will represent your gauge background. You can dock the image to the center of your container via the Object Inspector. This will center the image widget and force it to fill the container. You can see the effect as the UI container is resized. With the background set up, we can nest another container in the UI container that's on the canvas. Drag and drop a UI rotation container onto the UI container on the canvas. With the rotation container placed, center it horizontally and vertically via the Object Inspector. Now, find the UI Simple Arrow widget listed under Shapes in the toolbox and drag and drop it onto the rotation container you just centered. Adjust the size of the arrow so that it is thin and long. Then center it horizontally via the Object Inspector. Ensure that the arrow is nested under the UI rotation container by checking the hierarchy in the Solution Explorer. If it isn't nested under the rotation container in the hierarchy, then drag and drop the arrow element onto the rotation container within the Solution Explorer. Next, select the rotation container and set the Auto Center property in the Object Inspector to true. This will set the pivot point for the container to the origin. By default, the pivot is set to the top left corner of your object. With the arrow set up, we need to establish a minimum and maximum range. Grab the pivot point and drag to rotate your arrow. Rotate the arrow to the point where you want the minimum range set. Right-click the rotation container in the Solution Explorer hierarchy and select the Set Min Rotation selection from the context menu. Next, rotate the arrow to the point where you want the maximum range set. Again, right-click the rotation container in the Solution Explorer hierarchy, then select the Set Max Rotation selection from the context menu. You can now see how the arrow is bound to the min and max ranges that are set on the rotation container.